I'm going to kind of be all over the place for those of you who like to take notes and keep track. So this is kind of one I had lots of thoughts over. We're continuing our walk through the Casting Crowns album of life song, and we're on one song called Stained Glass Masquerade. And we might be putting I think we'll be putting the lyrics in the bulletin as you look down in the comments section so you can kind of read it. But we're continuing on this walk. This is kind of a deep topic to talk about, so I'm going to kind of do my best with it to stay linear, but I don't think it's going to happen. But if you, most of you are like, it never happens. But keep this in mind. Here's this one statement. Keep this one statement in mind. Be a church that heals through love. Be a church that heals through love. But the second half of that is be open to the hurt of others. I want you to kind of paint a picture for yourself. If you want to close your eyes, you can kind of imagine this. If you're better at keeping, just kind of keep an open mind here. One day that the world will one day open back up. And we will be able to go to our Targets and our Best Buys. And we can go to we can go to Walmart, but our other stores we'd like to go to, the malls and the outlet areas. And you're walking down the sun breeze, or the breeze is on you, the sunshine is on you. And you happen to smile at the song of birds and not being in your home. If you happen to have children, chasing the children around, you now can let them chase the squirrels. Have fun. Don't get lost. And you happen to pass that one person coming the opposite way, and you smile, and you give that typical greeting of, how are you? How are you doing? With the expected answer maybe of, great, good, how are you? But instead, to your surprise, they give you the truth. They're lonely. They've been cooped up in their apartment. They are single with no boyfriend or girlfriend, no wife or husband. Maybe with nothing to do, their job had been furloughed, or they lost their job, or their income has been cut down in half a little bit. Maybe they say they had symptoms similar to COVID, waiting for the test results and worried. And it comes back negative, but that roller coaster you see makes you anxious of every other cough or sneeze that you have now. And seeing that response, and then your surprise is you look awkwardly at them and then hurriedly scurry away maybe. Not really wanting the truth, not really wanting the answer, just wanting a, fine, I'm doing great, how are you? And your answer of great, okay. And you go on your merry way. Jeez, what were they thinking giving you the truth? You see, in some ways, some of you might be like, well, you know what? That's like every time we ask the pastor an easy question or a question. Pastor, this, and my answer sometimes is, hey, well, let's pull out our Bibles. Let's start reading. You go, no, I just wanted a yes or a no. See, I also worked before this at a private boarding school, and I was with a bunch of high school kids, and I worked as a dorm parent for them, and so lots of times they would come and ask you questions for their schoolwork, and I became the dorm parent to not ask about history questions. I had one student ask me about the American Revolution, and he said, we won, we beat the British, right? And I said, well, let's think about it. I said, the British were hiring people to come over here. They'd come off a long war previous to this. They were running out of money, and so let's look at the finances, and let's look at what they were doing. And so our quick answer of all I want to do is fill in the blank turned into an essay question. And so I'd always hear the kids, don't ask Mr. Ouellette any questions. Ask him math. Those are short ones. He usually sends you off. But Don't ask him a history question. Sometimes it's like that in our lives, though, when we walk through. See, we set ourselves up and we ask the question, how are you doing? And we get an answer of, I'm okay. And we're happy with that. See, we come to church and we sit down sometimes, or maybe as we're socially distanced, we smile and we nod, expecting just a smile and a nod back. And maybe our closest friends we ask, and the truth comes out. But maybe not everybody in the church. See, that's kind of what this song is a little bit about. It's a question to the church on how do we deal with the truth. So we have, most of y'all who come here, who are members here, know we worship somewhere between 80 to 100 people, probably every Sunday. This weekend, upwards of 120. Sometimes we dip in the summers like most churches do, but do we follow everybody's life? Are we always asking? And amongst those 80 to 100 people, how many are having perfect lives in those moments? And how many people within that, or what person in that congregation, in our congregation, and also in other congregations, who are afraid or who view the perfectness that resides within their congregation or our congregation, and are afraid to speak up because they don't want to be seen as that person who's hurting, maybe. I want you to listen to these opening lines of that song. It's a question. Is there anyone that fails? Is there anyone that falls? Am I the only one in church today feeling so small? Are you? Do we truly know what the other people, honestly, do we know what the other person is like sitting next to us? See, we sit beside them in our 6 feet of distance. We sing hymns with them. We share in prayer with them. But do we know them? Are we scared to even ask them because we don't want the truth sometimes? We want to go to lunch. And this is not our church problem, and this is not just that church's problem. This is a societal, maybe a Christian problem sometimes. And so in all of our hugs and our smiles and our handshakes and our greetings, see, we want to be a welcoming church. We really do. We want to welcome people in the church and smile and be happy. We want them to know that this is a happy church to be in. And that's a good thing. But in all these messages of welcome and invitations to join our congregation or to join the congregations that they attend elsewhere, are we an open place for the broken people of the world? For a person who's just seeking a place to fall apart, to find a home, to lean on somebody. And maybe to have someone put them back together because they're having a hard time of putting themselves back together. Have we been there before? Maybe you had. A lot of us feel that way sometimes. This isn't just a singular one person in our church problem or in other churches' problems. But I challenge and I say to churches and as Christians in general, or to us in general, to myself sometimes too, because I don't always want the answer. I just, hey, how are you doing? And then I want to move on. I got so much going on in my life. I don't have time to deal maybe with somebody else. Maybe you feel like that sometimes. Maybe there's days you have all the time in the world. And when the day goes by, you're like, whew. Do we ask people to keep their problems at the door? Another line, they continue on saying, and this is from the perspective, again, from the broken person, because when I take a look around, everyone seems so strong. I know they'll soon discover that I don't belong. Hard to hear those words sometimes. It's hard for me to hear those words. I love this song. I listen to this song a lot because what it does is it makes me think. What am I doing? Am I pushing somebody else off so that I feel comfortable? And because of this mentality that we have, sometimes we develop, not always, but sometimes we have our moments because we are fearful to know of that other person's truth. We have so much going on in our own lives. And we know that we are damaged sometimes too with our hurting and our crying that we don't want to hear someone else. And so that person says, so I tuck it all away like everything is okay. If I make them all believe it, maybe I'll believe it too. So with a painted grin, I play the part again. So everyone will see me the way that I see them. Perfect. Perfect congregation. Perfect people. See, the chorus in the church in this song uses the terms of happy plastic people and underneath a happy plastic steeple, saying that we're all prefabricated into this. Maybe that's what they mean. I don't know. I haven't really dove into what their ways or why they chose the words, but to me it kind of rings out. But both plastic is brittle, can easily break, and it's hollow. And it's prefabricated. It's not truthful. So you go into the scriptures in John 3:16 through 17, they're looking at that. See, we all know John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son. John reminds us in this of the love God has for us and the sacrifice he's given to us or for us for our redemption. You see, I hear a lot that we shouldn't allow people to know of our baggage or know of our dirty laundry. I hear that sometimes, but don't put that out in front of people. That's your own business. Don't do that. Some of the most thriving churches I know, we're not even thriving, and I'm not talking mega churches, but some of the most thriving pastors and congregations I know are pastors with broken pasts. Pastors who put it out with their drug addiction and their alcoholism and their divorces. And they say, this is how Jesus has lifted me up. This is how the people around me as Christians put me back together. And so the same is for you. And this is a congregation, this is a home for you as well, for the broken people of the world. See, Jesus didn't call the perfect people. But you see, before that, Jesus talks, before John 3:16, the one we know so well, Jesus talks about that the Son of Man will be lifted up for all to view. And in that viewing, you will be healed. And he's referring back to the Moses days when the people were lost in the wilderness, saying, on that day, just like the snake that was lifted up that healed the people from their snake bites, I too, or the Son of Man too, will heal the world. But the other side of that is this. God showed his brokenness to the world, his brokenheartedness at how the world had grown into evil and embraced this lostness. God showed us his pain by putting his Son on the cross. A pain caused by the disconnection of the Creator and creation. And the loving Creator put himself on a cross. Broken, nailed, bleeding, dirty, mocked, spit upon. See, before the resurrection, there was a broken man on a cross. God showing us his hurt, his falling apart, what he would do for us, the weight of the world breaking this man silently. See, God wasn't afraid to show us his pain or to break down in front of us. See, God's pain is the pain of knowing the truth of the sin in the world. But it's also the pain of the way he knew he had to deal with it. And so he fell apart on a stick, on a piece of wood. Before the glory of the resurrection, there was pain. You see, in John 15, going on, 9 through 17, Jesus commands us to love, just as he has loved us. The one who has loved us in fullness says, love in the same way that I love you. See, God, as I said before, Jesus didn't call perfect people. And these people still weren't perfect after they knew the resurrection was going to occur. See, James and John were so caught up on themselves, and they laid themselves out before Jesus, saying, hey, man, put us at your left and your right. We're ready to go. Put us. And the other disciples I can hear going like brothers going, what the? Why are you saying that? Put us. Peter denying, saying, I don't know that man. Oh, buddy, to a little girl. And Thomas saying, no, man, I ain't going to believe it. I don't care who tells me. Not perfect people. Thomas didn't even believe till Jesus did stand in front of him. And then Thomas lays down before him and says, I believe you are the Son. You are the glorious one. And Thomas in our tradition tells us that went on to start the churches throughout India that are still strong today. Peter is the rock of our Christian church. You see, even Peter and Paul aren't perfect people. They fought throughout the Scriptures. Peter trying to keep together the poor church of Jerusalem. And Paul going around throughout the rich areas of the Roman Empire building up these churches with money, and they didn't see eye to eye on a lot of things. And they fought. See, his disciples weren't perfect, nor are we called to be perfect. In character, sometimes we fall apart, and we show our true colors. We show that we're scared to know Jesus when we're confronted sometimes. We're embarrassed. We're scared to let people know of the pain in our lives. You see, the disciples were a bunch of scared men in an upper room, falling apart at the fact that they had no other leader or direction, scared of persecution, falling apart together, sharing in their pain, until Christ appeared to them and gave them strength. What kind of view do we put out? Or what kind of picture do we portray? The church is for the broken. It's in the Beatitudes. See, going on, they say, as I mentioned before, the song, are we happy plastic people under shiny plastic steeples, with walls around our weakness and smiles to hide our pain? But if the invitation's open to every heart that has been broken, do we invite? Maybe then we can close the curtain on our stained glass masquerade. I think sometimes this is our habit. Sometimes I think this is what we do, and I think we do it to protect ourselves sometimes. I don't think we do it out of malice at all. I think we're scared also at times. I think Christians want to seem this bedrock of strength. I think people in general do that. We build this wall up around us, hiding who we are to others, and we hide, in essence, themselves from us. It's kind of like, I can use the term Facebook now. It's like you find that perfect picture to put on Facebook, right? But before that, it was picture albums. You know, my dad has albums and albums and albums and albums of family vacations and stuff like that. And each one you open it up, and it's like there's the family at the Grand Canyon, and there's the family at Stone Mountain and Atlanta and wherever we were going, Disney World, all of us hugging and happy as can be. You don't see the picture of mom yelling in the back, put the games down and get out here. Every mom does that, right? Every parent does that. I do that. Son, you're going to enjoy this whether you like it or not. Before that, it was, put that down. We went on this vacation and you're going to enjoy it. Quit your crying. You don't see that part, but you sure see the perfectness, or the perfectness, is that a word? Perfection. There you go. I'm trying to make up words again. You see the perfection and standing underneath each of the state signs. You don't see the 30 minutes it took that parent to say, stay there just for 5 seconds so I can get the picture. You see the family photo at the holiday Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner, right? Everybody around, gather around the family, click. You don't see the disconnected family member who's outside after that picture's taken, who can't talk, who's maybe the black sheep. You don't see that part. You don't see the brokenness. You see a perfect family. We all like to put that perfect family out there. And we like to put the perfect church. Come to us. See, we play dress up some and putting on our smiles, our makeup, hoping that maybe our marital problems won't show through, that our financial problems won't show through, that the problems that we're having with family at this time won't show through. And see, we make ourselves different. We make ourselves different, changing our appearances to fit not what we want others to see, but what we think we want or what we think others see in us. Does that make sense? What we feel others see us like. We want to fit that part. We want to fit the perfect part. So we put the nicer clothes to fit. We put the nicer clothes on to maybe fit the economic bracket we want to look like we fit inside. We want to have our children quiet in the corner or right beside us to say that we have it all in control in our house. My child isn't the child running around crazy. I'm not fooling anybody, I know that. Maybe we grow our beard out, we look a little older, because we know that if we look a little older, we look a little wiser. We're fitting the part. Because the two are parallel, aren't they? And we hide the hurt that exists within our hearts because we feel like no one really wants the truth. No one wants the correct answer to the question that we ask and one that we even ask to complete strangers. We want to smile and we want to go along with our play that we've been putting on. Is there anyone who's been there? Are there any hands to raise? Am I the only one who's traded in the altar for a stage? The performance is convincing. And we know every line by heart. Only when no one is watching can we really fall apart. Hurts. See, it becomes a play. We keep reenacting this play sometimes. We allow it in our church to happen, and we're scared. We're lost. And it becomes a single act play, a single part play because it's just us. Brothers and sisters, PTSD and stuff like that separates people from societies. And when people feel separated because they don't feel they belong, they turn to other places, alcohol and drugs. They find other ways to play the parts and to fall apart in front of people or in front of things, in front of TVs, by themselves. Because if they can't fall apart in church, where can they fall apart? And the sad part is this. Sometimes they decide just to end the play altogether. They don't want it anymore. They're tired of acting. I want to go back. Oh, we a church of healing love. Oh, we a church that heals. Oh, we a church for those who need healing. We can be. We probably are in some respects. We probably are. But are we also a people? Are we open to that same love Jesus showed us? Are we open to sharing it, to wallowing in it, this love? To bathing ourselves in it and making it available for others. See, it's like a swimming pool. We invite others in. But see, some people don't come in because they don't know how to swim. Or some people come in because they're scared of the deep end. Or they're afraid of how someone may look at how they swim. Their strokes may be kind of funny. They may look like a seal or a walrus kind of floundering around. But do we make it comfortable for them to come in this love? And we say it's okay. We accept you. We love you. Look at me. I am not perfect either. So we say, as in the song, but would it set me free if I dared to let you see the truth behind the person that you imagine me to be? Would your arms be open, or would you walk away? Would the love of Jesus be enough to make you stay? Be a church, brothers and sisters. A church for the broken. Be a people. See, the church is a body, not just a building. Be a church of weakness. Be a church of brokenness. Be a church of love. Spoken about so many times in the Bible. Do not be afraid of the dirt or the grime, of the baggage, of the dirty laundry. Be a church, be a people that's willing to pick it up and help them carry it. You see, the church is a body. Hands and feet, and the hands don't walk as well as the feet, and the brain that can't breathe like the lungs. But when the leg is broken, see, it doesn't hesitate to scream out to the body to say it is broken, and the body doesn't stop to reject the leg because it is broken. There's an acceptance that the body isn't what it was at one time, and it needs healing. And so the body takes its turn at healing the leg so that it becomes stronger. And so that through the leg becoming mended and stronger, the body itself becomes stronger. Brothers and sisters, the church is for the broken, both for you and me. Amen.